Video 2 for Chapter 2. So where we left off is we kind of talked about the characteristics of intercultural communication. We also need to look at codes and culture. And I'm only going to highlight this section as I do a lot of the sections, just kind of a supplement for you. But language and identity is so important for your culture. How do you analyze, how do you attach meaning to different words in your language for your culture? And you're really going to look at that. And then you're going to look at verbal communication styles and even nonverbal codes. If I do something within my culture, if I do this, for me, that and the people that I'm in my culture, that means let's go, wrap it up. But for you, that may not mean that. I can't travel overseas and do this and expect that the people overseas knows what I'm doing. And I can't, certainly, as we know from, I think it was President Bush who did that okay sign, and it meant something totally different. So that brings me into that nonverbal codes of knowing how to verbalize and non-verbalize with people from different cultures than our own. And that means we need to know how to have better intercultural competence, which means how can we become better at this? Think about it this way. If you were giving tips and guidelines for someone who is traveling to a different country or studying a different culture, what would you tell them to do? You would tell them to have motivation and attitude, right? To learn about that culture. They need to think about that it's going to be different. The tolerance for ambiguity. There's going to be a lot of gray. And they have to be okay with that gray. And what does that look like? Open-mindedness. Being open to understanding that different cultures respond differently to our nonverbal and verbal codes. And what does that mean for us? And how should we behave when we're over there? And by behave, I mean get along with other cultures. They've often said that when you went to France, that they didn't really like people from other countries coming in. And I think one of the reasons, a further study that you do, is that they didn't like it because these people did not get to know their culture before they go into. I traveled to Paris and I've traveled overseas, and the main thing that I do is have an open mind and stay flexible and know that I'm in a different culture. I'm in a different country, and there they do things differently. So keeping that open-minded and knowing that I'm not the best. Sure, we live in this great country that has wonderful freedoms and everything, but keeping an open mind that other countries and other places have great things too. And knowledge and skill, being knowledgeable about that country and what they may or may not do. This was just a little highlight over culture and communication. I think that it's important because as we further go on our trip to interpersonal communication, we're going to talk about culture. The one thing is to know is that culture does not mean just people from a different country, but it also means within ourselves, the people that share the same views for us. All right, let me know if you have any questions and email me. Thanks.